going on, everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, bringing you guys some major news in regards to Boruto. We have brand new spoilers. These are going to be coming courtesy of Organic Dinosaur. We have spoilers that are going to be taking us from episode 266 all the way to episode 270, which is going to be October 9th, so just before Naruto's birthday. So obviously, much shouts out to Organic Dinosaur for buying the magazines and giving us the translated info. So we have a few things to talk about here. So first and foremost, it looks like the Himawari Academy arc, it looks like we're reaching the climax of that. I've been pretty consistent in some of the stuff I told you guys in the comment section over the last month when this arc was announced, that Japanese box set 16 is gonna likely be episodes 261 to 274. So this Himawari arc is more than likely gonna end around episode 274, and just based off of where we are currently, it looks like that might hold true. They might stretch this arc out a little bit longer, but 274 would take us right up to November, and we know that Code Actuation arc is supposed to be starting this fall, so I would think sometime in December most likely is when that Code arc will start. So we have some interesting stuff to talk about here. So just jumping right into the episode synopsis that we have. Episode 266 is titled The Kidnapping of Himawari. It's going to be broadcasting on September 11th, and this is actually coming to us courtesy of TV Tokyo's website. So the synopsis says Himawari has become enveloped in a kidnapping and ransom situation. The original target was her classmate Osaka, whose mother was a famous actress. But when the ringleader of the kidnappers realizes that Himawari is the daughter of the Hokage, they plan on trying to use this fact to their advantage. They could stand to gain an even greater profit from the scenario. Meanwhile, Kawaki has become aware of the incident. Kai is concerned for both Himawari and Osaka. Kawaki, Kai, Neon, and their friends work together with all their might to try and figure out Himawari and Osaka's whereabouts. So this one right here, outside of the fact that we have criminals who are dumb enough to try and kidnap Himawari, Himawari must be protected at all costs, and one way you can protect Himawari is by hitting that like button. That way Himawari can smile during her whole hostage situation. But I kind of find it funny, like Shoujoju is like, oh, it's the Hokage's son, let's see how far I can push this one. It's the same thing here. They're going, oh, it's the Hokage's daughter. It's like, dude, you really don't want Naruto to get pissed off. Like, he can't pull up and say, do you want these shadow clones to use Kurama mode or not? But he can still pull up and say, do you want these shadow clones to start using Sage mode?
Stop the cap. Stop the cap right now. Stop the cap. No bullshit, bro.
Like, dude, that takes some balls to kidnap Naruto's daughter, man. So episode 267 is where we start seeing things turn around a little bit. So the synopsis is published in Animedia magazine. This is gonna be airing on September 19th, and the synopsis for this says Kawaki, Himawari, and their classmates have decided to put on a show about the legendary Sannin for their contribution to the school festival. The students gather up some props to use in the play, such as wearing and using their own homemade forehead proctors, and put forth a lot of effort into the rehearsals. But on accident, Fuma Eke realizes that Kawaki is wearing a real-life forehead proctor. He then goes on to try and expose Kawaki's true identity. This man is a simp. In an attempt to gather evidence, he tries to separate Kai from Kawaki. Kawaki must not let Kai know about his mission no matter what, and so will he be able to nimbly dodge the scenario. Eke is a simp, and while I like the idea of him being like so dead set on trying to win over Kai's heart and everything, and you kind of see him as kind of filling in for another simp that we have in the manga that I don't want to spoil, but there's a simp in the manga who is willing to do anything for a certain woman's affections. You're seeing the same thing with Eke. I have to say, I'm actually a little bit interested to see how they're going to honor the legendary Sannin, because we have always asked, like, how much does the old generation know about some of the prior generations? And seeing them talk about the legendary Sannin most likely means they're going to be talking about the Second Great Ninja War, because the Second Great Ninja War is where the legendary Sannin made their name. So I'm kind of curious to see what they do with this. Now, Kawaki making the mistake of wearing his forehead proctor and everything, that's interesting. And the reason why I say that that's interesting is I would think, and maybe they'll touch on this, but I would think that Kawaki, because they're talking about the Sannin, he's likely going to learn that Jiraiya was Naruto's sensei, and I would think that he would try to make something more similar to what Jiraiya had. That's gonna be interesting, man. Like, if we don't see Naruto and Kawaki, or Kawaki even learn that Naruto is trained by Jiraiya, I'm gonna be a little bit disappointed, man. So episode 268 is going to be airing on September 25th, and it's titled The Targeted School Festival. So this was also published in Animedia magazine, and it says, at last, Academy School Festival's begun. Boruto and his friends, who are fellow alumni, are beginning to gather up. A huge crowd of people have come for the event, making it a successful turnout. Meanwhile, Kawaki is still concerned about the incident that happened the other day. There could potentially be an assassin amongst the crowd who is targeting Kai. However, Kawaki and his classmates have to put in their best effort into rehearsing and performing the show for that day. He sees how excited and happy Kai is to be performing soon too, and so for the time being, Kawaki's not yet reported the incident that involved the assassin. Kawaki has decided to watch over Kai as she tries to enjoy the school festival to her heart's content. The academy was packed full of people when a bombing suddenly occurred. Then a threatening letter arrives from the assailant. So yeah, so this is another sign right here. I think we're approaching more of this climax right here. I know people are traumatized by how long the Funato clan arc was, even though it was only 3 episodes longer than the Mitsuki arc. But this is a sign, in my opinion. This is only going to be one home media release. I don't think this is going to be stretching out for that much longer, just based off of this. So Kawaki, one thing that we do see is it looks like the man's starting to get feelings for Kai, and he's starting to get a little bit protective of her. The fact that there's an assassination attempt, I guess that's gonna have happened either in episode 266 or 267. I like what you're seeing right here because Kawaki's trying to give this girl an opportunity to actually have some form of a childhood. So that's interesting that we see Kawaki make that determination, but the fact that he's being negligent of even reporting something like this, it kind of just goes back to it. Like Kawaki, when it comes to being a shinobi, he's bending the rules, and Kawaki doesn't truly understand what it means to be an actual shinobi because he's essentially on a guard mission. There are huge ramifications if anything happens to Kai. So I think this is one of those situations, he gets it, but he doesn't get it. So kind of curious to see how they handle this one. Looks like 267 to 270 are going to be episodes that just roll right into each other, potentially taking place on the same day. Now, episode 269 is titled A Creeping Shadow, which I'm not sure if that was done on purpose, but pretty sure Bleach's anime has a OST titled Creeping Shadow, but this was also published in Animedia magazine, and the synopsis for this one says, during the Academy School Festival, a bombing incident had occurred, and in addition, someone was aiming for Kai's life. Kawaki was negligent in reporting the information regarding the presence of an assassin when he first became aware of them. As a result, Kawaki was dismissed from his guard mission and ended up having to stay at home during this furlough. Meanwhile, due to this incident, it's been decided that Kai should return back to her home country sooner than she had originally planned to. She is regretful that she ended up not being able to finish out her study abroad trip. In addition, Kai now realizes something. Up until now, Kawaki wasn't actually being her friend at all. She felt hurt that Kawaki was only playing that role for the sake of his mission for the entire time that she was here. But at that moment, once again, an ominous shadow approaches Kai. So, yo, we're seeing some of that betrayal aspect. That has potential to be something a little bit emotional right there, depending on how that's done. I know Hanjin Animation is going to be one of the studios working on one of these sets of episodes. I want to say it's 269, but Hanjin Animation, they do a pretty good job for the most part. So I'm looking forward to whatever episode they're doing. Now, what I will say is that Kawaki being punished for something like this, I think this has potential depending on who hands down the punishment. If it's Shikamaru who hands it down and Naruto backs it up, that's me interested to see his response right there. Because in a way, Kawaki can argue, I did nothing wrong, but at the same time, he did everything wrong. But we're seeing right here that like Kai, her time in Konoha, it looks like it's coming to an end. Whoever is trying to collect that bounty on her because she's the target for assassination, it looks like we're in a situation where that's going to be coming to a head very soon. Now, episode 270 is titled Two Sides of the Same Coin. That's gonna be airing on October 9th, again, one day before Naruto's birthday. And that one says, during the bombing incident that had transpired during their school festival, the class's homeroom teacher, Kakahana, had gotten injured while trying to protect the students. she's finally returned to the class. Meanwhile, Kawaki has once again been assigned to guard Kai and has returned to the class as well. The academy has seemingly recovered to its former normal liveliness too. Hana has now realized that the assailant had previously taken advantage of the chaos during the bombing incident in order to target Kai's life. Even though she was the one who was closest to her students during the event, Hana was unable to prevent the incident from occurring and her students from being harmed. Hana then reflects on her shortcomings about not being able to do more at that time, and so in order to think over what happened during the incident, Hana decides to pay visit to the scene of the crime. So I think this puts the nail in the coffin on the whole Kakahana is the secret assassin. I told you guys from the beginning I didn't think this was going to be a case, and just for a little fun fact, Kakahana and some of the other academy students that you're seeing, those are actually designs that were submitted in the Boruto, which is in the back of the manga volumes where fans are able to submit their own designs, original characters, and Studio Piro is just doing it in Kishimoto's style. But I don't think that they would have taken a original character submitted by a fan and turned that character into a villain unless the character design sheet that was submitted by the fan had them as a villain. Just based off of how a few things in Japan work, I don't think that would have been the case. Now, what I find interesting is that we don't see anything about that butler. I'm still saying that I think it's the butler that's going to be the one behind everything. But what we do see here is that Hana is going through her reflections and she's just one of those characters. Like, she's not necessarily super skilled, but she's got other attributes that make her an asset. And so we're seeing her kind of come to that crossroads right there. What I find interesting is that Kawaki's now back in the academy, back guarding Kai, and now both of them are aware of the fact that Kawaki's mission was to try and protect Kai. The only thing that I wonder about is how their character interactions are going to change. And based off of the ending of this where it says, and so in order to think over what happened during the incident, Hana decides to pay a visit to the scene of the crime. What I'm kind of wondering about this is if this isn't going to end with some type of a cliffhanger where the real assassin's the one that comes out and ends up confronting Hana. I'm kind of curious if that's going to be what happened. I don't think we're in a situation like with the Sumire thing where Sumire had everybody fooled and she was the actual villain of that arc. I don't think that's going to be a case with Kakahana, but I do think, again, we're coming close to the point of winding down for this. Like the fact that that code actuation arc is in pre-production right now, and we're going into October, I could see a realistic scenario where this arc ends on episode 274, and then you have the 4 transition episodes that take place in the month of November, and then you just roll into December with that code actuation, though you could push it back to January if they decide to milk this arc a little bit longer, because this did get quite a bit of promotion, but I think 13 episodes is enough, and that's roughly where we're gonna be at if we get to episode 274 and this is still going on. So overall, I'd say the episode I'm most interested in seeing is going to be the legendary signing episode and what you're going to see with the targeted school festival. The other two, 269, 270, I'm going to go into those with an open mind, but I'm not terribly excited for them. But, you know, I've been surprised in the past. So let me know which episode you guys are most interested in checking out. While you think that over, consider watching these other videos you see on the screen right now.